It's Tuono vlog time. What a lovely evening to be riding an Aprilia Tuono V4 Factory. Let the vloggage begin. Hi, I'm Chad, and welcome to Virtual Reality. I like to start my vlogs in virtual reality because it is a place where we can go fast. So without further ado, let us go fast. Back to reality. So in today's vlog, we are going to talk about GP shift, aka race shift, aka reverse shift, which you just saw a beautiful example of in virtual reality on a virtual replica of my Tuono V4 Factory. So as you saw, pretty straightforward. Down is up and up is down. Generally speaking, this isn't too difficult of a modification to make to your bike, and I really like it. So I wanted to talk about my experience with it, why I decided to convert my motorcycles being keyword, to GP shift, and why I think it makes more sense for a sport bike than standard shift does. So first, as I always do, a little bit of background. I converted my first motorcycle, which was a 2003 Honda CBR 600RR, to GP shift after I've been riding for about 7 or 8 months. And every bike I've had after that, aside from the WR250X, has been converted to GP shift pretty much immediately after I purchased it. So that includes my 2006 Triumph Daytona 675, the 2012 Triumph Daytona 675R that I still own and is a track bike, my Tuono V4RR that I used to own, and then now my Tuono V4 Factory that I replaced my Tuono RR with. So again, in slightly greater detail, GP shift reverses the shift pattern of your motorcycle. So instead of clicking the shifter upwards to go up gears, you press it downwards, and to downshift you press it upwards instead of downwards. Very backwards, I know, from what you might be accustomed to if you've just purchased a new motorcycle off of a showroom floor or never modified your bike like this. Now, if you're not familiar with GP shift, you might ask yourself why you would want to make this modification to your motorcycle. And if you ask me, the main reason becomes pretty apparent the first time you go to a racetrack. Imagine this scenario. You're hanging off the side of the bike in the corner, and you're on corner exit, and the bike still has a bit of lean angle, and you need to go to shift up a gear because you're running out of revs, or you're running into a section of the track that requires a higher gear. Now, it's rare that you'll find yourself in a situation where you want to downshift while exiting a corner. And if you still have lean angle and you go to wedge your foot up underneath the shift lever to click it up for an upshift, particularly when you're leaning over on the left side in a left-hand turn, there's a really good chance you're going to scrape your foot on the ground, and that's really bad. That can result in, an injury to your foot, damage to your boot, and possibly even a crash. I'm next to a GT500 and an NSX. I feel like I'm about to get sandwiched by this Mustang. Oh boy. Oh, I'm scared. We live to ride another day. So for this reason, if you're riding your bike in a sporting manner, I think it makes the most sense to be able to keep your foot up above the shift lever, which will give you the ground clearance you need if you are mid-corner in a left-hand turn and need to go up a gear on exit. And I actually have first-hand experience running into this with my Tuono RR at Chuckwalla Valley Raceway. Running the track counterclockwise, when you come out of turn 9 and into turn 8, I'm saying this because counterclockwise is backwards for the track. So coming out of turn 9 and going into turn 8 and then exiting turn 8, on my Tuono RR, I was pretty much at the top of second gear driving out of that corner, and I still had some lean angle. So I went to go upshift, and even with GP shift, I underestimated how much lean angle I still had, and I caught just the edge of my toe slider on the ground. Obviously that was a little bit of a shock and a learning lesson coming out of that corner, but imagine if my bike had been standard shift. My foot would have been all crooked and like ended up catching the ground all awkward, and it would have been really bad. That reason in and of itself, I think GP shift is safer for a sport bike where you're gonna be carrying some lean angle through corners and might be in a situation where you do need to upshift while you're going left. So the second reason that I prefer riding GP shift as opposed to standard shift is this might just be my own personal preference and the way my own body is, but my foot is much stronger pushing down than it is lifting up. Do that for a second with me. Pick your foot up and flex your ankle this way. Flex your foot up and now push it down. Which feels easier to you? Personally, again, I feel much more comfortable and much stronger pushing down. So when you've got some G's working against you and you're accelerating hard coming out of a corner or just off the line on the straightaway and you've got wind working against you, I think it's a lot easier to just move your foot and simply click down on the shifter. There's a lot less work involved there, and especially when you're carrying higher speeds, I think it just simplifies things. Now, of course, this changes a little bit because then you need to wedge your foot under the shifter to downshift, but I think it's a small price to pay. And again, I actually think that this is easier because as you're braking and you have your body weight supported on the outside of the corner, you should have the freedom in your ankle to be able to wedge it under the shifter and easily downshift. At least such has been my experience. So to sum that point up, I just feel like it's an easier way to work the shifter. Now, the third and final reason that I prefer GP shift is because it feels cool. Might be a little silly here. I've got some logical points, I've got some emotional points. This is a big emotional one for me. I feel way cooler pressing down to shift up gears. It just feels much more race. And especially when you have a quick shifter on your bike, it's just one of the coolest feelings in my opinion. And I mean, if you go look at MotoGP riders and most World Superbike racers, and even Moto America racers, most people that race and are at a professional level run GP shift. I think that most of my supporting points kind of stand to reason, and that's really all the data and science that I think you need to back up my point. Given all this, particularly points 1 and 2, since those are the real logical ones, I think it would make more sense for sport bikes to come with GP shift. Now, I understand why they don't. It's kind of a universal standard, and there's a lot of other types of motorcycles out there besides sport bikes, and my understanding, given I don't have any experience riding dirt, but having standard shift is actually better there in a lot of cases. Again, I'm not exactly sure for what reasons. I can't really speak to that. And just being that, it is an old universal standard, most people, I think, hopping on a motorcycle are going to expect the motorcycle to be 1 down, 5 up, as opposed to 1 up, 5 down. Now, of course, you could include this as a disclaimer or have your sales representatives for your company explain to all customers that this bike that you were buying brand new, whatever super sport or super bike or naked bike it might be, is GP shift. But I think there's a lot of people out there that don't really care, might not even know that you can make a bike GP shift. It wouldn't make a huge difference to them. So I understand why it isn't that way, but I still think it would be kind of cool if it was. Being that it isn't, it's still in most cases pretty simple to convert your bike to GP shift. My Tuono, for example, I was able to purchase this Woodcraft GP shift lever that just had the linkage up on top of the lever as opposed to below where it is on the stock shift lever, and just switching that piece out, adjusting the shifter connection on the shift spindle a little bit, and my bike was 1 up, 5 down, and the quick shifter and auto blipper still work. My Daytona 675R, I had to buy aftermarket rear sets for that. There is a way that you can jerry-rig it so that the shift linkage runs outside of the frame and you can do GP shift, but there's a good chance your shift linkage is going to rub on the frame and it's just not good. So highly recommend rear sets for a Daytona 675 or a Street Triple, all the Triumph bikes that use that frame. But on some bikes it's as easy as just flipping the shift linkage from one side of the shift spindle to the other. When one end of the linkage makes a 180-degree flip, it changes the direction in which you need to press to rotate the shift spindle in the way that you would need to either go up a gear or go down a gear. Pretty simple modification. Again, there's some bikes that you can just do this with stock, literally flip it upside down. Tuono, unfortunately, it's not that easy because it has the quick shifter and the auto blipper. The quick shifter is a push sensor and the auto blipper is a pull. So if you were to flip the linkage, it would be backwards and those electronics just wouldn't work. My understanding is that with the R1 and the GSXR 1000 can flip the linkage. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but that was something that I think I saw somebody do on the internet. So it just depends. It could be as cheap and easy as 10 minutes of your time loosening up a bolt and flipping it over the spindle, or it could be as bad as buying aftermarket rear sets. But these are the reasons that I prefer to ride with GP shift and why I'd recommend everybody that has a sport bike at least give it a shot, see if you like it. And with that said, guys, I think we're going to wrap this one up here. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and enjoyed what I have to say, please consider giving the like button a gentle little click. I'd really appreciate that. Helps my videos get recommended, and I love making these and love meeting more of you through the comment section. So did you like this video? Drop a comment below. Let's talk about why. Did you dislike it? Do you disagree with me? Again, drop a comment. I'm a nice guy. Love chatting everyone up about motorcycles. It's just pretty much my favorite thing. If you like the Aprilia Tuono V4, highly recommend you subscribe. I post content on this bike usually at least once a week. Love talking about it, sharing what it can do and the features that it has. If you have any questions about it, feel free to ask, or you know, if you have a good in-depth question that might take a little bit more than a few sentences, I'll even make it into a video. And if you do subscribe, also recommend turning notifications on. I'm about to start racing my Triumph Daytona 675R. So that's going to be a good time, and I'm going to be documenting my whole experience in becoming a club motorcycle racer. It's going to be fun. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Later.